Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you had an enjoyable enough break, or as enjoyable as you could have had under the circumstances. Um, I don't know, I'll give you a question to do the Thursday before the Easter. If you could just add that up to your OneNote, guys, and put it into your own folder, and I'll correct that over the next few days and give you feedback on it, okay? What we're going to be working on today and tomorrow, guys, is in our Northern Ireland tab, if you go into that, and the impact of the Troubles, and we're going right down to the last topic that we're actually covering in Northern Ireland, guys. So we'll have it finished by probably Wednesday or Thursday. And I come down to the Apprentice Boys case study, the Apprentice Boys of Derry. Now, I can't remember, guys, if I got you to do a little bit on this or not before the midterm, but if I didn't, if I get you to put the heading into your notes copies, the Apprentice Boys of Derry. This is one of the three case studies from the book, guys, so it is an important topic. Now, the Apprentice Boys are a marching group essentially in Northern Ireland. We're going to learn a little bit about why they march, the history of their marches, and how one of their marches actually led to the Troubles. So you can come down a little bit, guys, and I want you to come down to number 3. So, and we're going to start taking the points down from here, and I want you to take these down to your notes, guys. So, the Apprentice Boys of Derry were established in 1813. They commemorate the Protestant victory during the Siege of Derry, which is in 1688 and 1689. We're going to learn what the Siege of Derry was in the next slide. So the Siege of Derry happened over those few months. So Derry is a walled city, and the Protestant refugees from all over Ulster fled to Derry, and Catholic forces who were under the command of James II arrived outside the walls of the city to try and conquer the city. And the governor of the city, Colonel Robert Lundy, wished to surrender. He wanted to surrender, but 13 apprentice boys, men that were working with him, defied him, basically ignored what he said and closed all the gates of the cities and kept the Catholics outside. Now, Lundy, you see mentioned there, guys, we've watched a few videos where particularly Ian Paisley has called people Lundys. Now, a Lundy is an important term for Protestants, and Lundy means a traitor. And this is where it comes from, because Lundy here is regarded by Protestants as a traitor because he wanted to let the Catholics into the city essentially and wanted to surrender, and the apprentice boys wouldn't let him. So here you can see they often do this Lundy the traitor. The worst thing to be called in a Protestant circle is a Lundy. You're a traitor if you're ever called a Lundy. So Lundy's replacement, the Reverend George Walker, became the hero of the siege. For 105 days, involving gunshots, cannonballs, hunger, disease, the siege was broken by the arrival of relief ships from Britain. Essentially, they held out. The Protestants in the city of Derry held out, and ever since, Protestants in Northern Ireland have drawn inspiration from this story. That against all odds, they hung on to the city, and they basically got victory against the Catholics. Okay, guys, so if we take down the next heading, this is key. So the foundation of the Apprentice Boys of Derry. So again, I want to take down each of these points, guys. That's all we're going to be doing, is taking down a few points today. The siege was commemorated, but no formal organisation responsible for this until 1813, when the Apprentice Boys Club set up. It was actually set up in Dublin initially. Remember, at this point, there was no Northern Ireland in 1813 by 14 Derry men. Shortly afterwards, a club was formed in Derry. The No Surrender Club was formed. The Apprentice Boys took charge of the annual commemorations in the city. So No Surrender, again, is kind of a catchphrase of the Unionists group, and just a little phrase here, you don't need to take this down. Ulster men and women participated in the defence of Derry, and their descendants still live there. The story serves to reinforce the political resolve of Ulster Protestants by recalling the enchanting threat of their fate and liberties posed by the Catholic majority in Ireland. No surrender, the watchword of the defenders of Derry, has become the arch slogan of loyalism. And still is today. No surrender, they're always saying it. 1856, the General Committee of the Apprentice Boys was formed to coordinate the siege celebrations. The celebrations take place each year around the 18th of December and the 12th of August. The 18th of December is the ceremony of the closing of the gates. The 12th of August is actually the bigger one. If we move on a little bit here, the 12th of August is the main Apprentice Boys commemoration. This is, I think, I can't remember if I did, but I think I showed you a clip from the Derry Girls where there was a march going to say that would have been an Apprentice Boys march on the 12th of August. Most Catholics leave the city of Derry for that day. They don't want to be around. They don't feel safe in the city. And what happens on the 12th of August is there's a religious service in the Protestant cathedral, and the Apprentice Boys, complete with banners, like you can see in the background picture, complete with banners, sashes and bands, marched around the walls of Derry. Now we know Derry is a Catholic city, so a lot of the community do not want these people there, but they have to put up with it. After partition, so after Ireland was split and the creation of Northern Ireland in 1921, Derry became the second largest city in Northern Ireland, which it still is today. But the Protestant population have always felt far from secure. We know that Derry has a strong nationalist group there, and Derry, if it had its way, it would prefer to be included in the South. So local Protestants welcomed the Apprentice Boys celebrations when other Protestants from all over Northern Ireland came into the city to join them in recalling a Protestant victory. We might just do one more slide, guys. The Protestant shrine of Protestant Ulster, we don't need to take down the quotes, is forever Derry. We do not meet together to provoke anybody or criticise any man's fate, but just as our forefathers before us, we are resolved that we shall not be driven out of this country by political pressure. For the majority of the Catholic community in Derry, the annual march was a source of provocation. Provocation basically means being wound up, and they felt that they're being wound up in their city by mainly outsiders. Most people that come into march are from outside of Derry. A statue of Governor Walker was placed in the column overlooking the largely nationalist Bogside area. So that's the statue there. And as you can expect during the Troubles, that statue was bombed. So we might leave it there, guys. I don't want to go too heavy into it today, so we'll keep it there. Just take down the points into your notes, copies, guys. Make sure you understand a little bit about the setup of the Apprentice Boys of Derry and what they stand for. And we'll continue on with that tomorrow. Any questions, drop me an email, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.